Miles of fortune. Jack Turner had spent half his life behind the wheel of an 18-wheeler. The highways of America were tattooed into his memory like scars on old skin. From the frozen plains of North Dakota to the blistering deserts of Arizona, Jack had hauled it all: grain, steel, furniture, machinery. He was a man of the road, one of the countless anonymous truckers who kept the nation's veins flowing. But Jack wanted more than diesel fumes and diner coffee. He was born in a small town outside Dallas, Texas. His father had been a mechanic, his mother a waitress, and money had always been tight. Jack dropped out of community college after one semester to work full-time. He drove because it paid the bills, not because he loved it. At first, he thought it would be temporary. 20 years later, he was still shifting gears down endless highways, wondering if the road would ever end. The breaking point. By the time Jack turned 40, his back ached, his savings were almost non-existent, and the company he drove for had cut pay again. He knew if he kept going, he'd retire broke. One night, in a lonely truck stop in Kansas, staring at his reflection in the chrome of his rig, he asked himself a question that wouldn't leave him. Why am I making other people rich while I stay poor? That night, Jack decided to take a risk. He drained his savings, every last $25,000, and bought a used Peterbilt truck outright. It was old, dented, and the paint was peeling, but it was his. For the first time, Jack was an owner-operator. The gamble. The first year nearly crushed him. Maintenance ate at his wallet, loads were hard to secure without a broker, and fuel prices rose like fire. Jack lived off canned soup and slept in the cab to save money. But he also discovered freedom. He chose his own routes, made his own calls, and pocketed every extra cent he earned. By hustling, calling shippers directly, and showing up on time every time, Jack built a reputation. If Jack Turner hauls it, it gets there. Slowly, local businesses began to bypass brokers and call him directly. Within 3 years, he had more freight offers than he could handle alone. Growing the fleet. Instead of upgrading to a luxury truck like many drivers, Jack made a different choice. He reinvested. With careful loans and discipline, he bought 2 more rigs and hired drivers he trusted. He didn't treat them as expendable workers. He paid fair, gave bonuses, and ate at the same diners as them. His small company, Turner Hauling, became known not just for reliability but for loyalty. By 2018, he had a fleet of 10 trucks. What once was a lonely life became a business, and Jack found himself less behind the wheel and more behind a desk. At first, he hated it. Paperwork, contracts, insurance, it wasn't the road. But then he saw the bigger picture. He wasn't just hauling freight, he was building an empire of wheels and steel. Crisis and reinvention. Then the pandemic struck. Supply chains collapsed, rates nosedived, and trucking companies went bankrupt overnight. Jack's fleet was on the brink of ruin. But instead of folding, he pivoted. He shifted operations toward essential goods: groceries, medical supplies, cleaning products. He struck deals with local governments desperate to keep shelves stocked. His drivers became frontline lifelines, and Turner Hauling grew while competitors vanished. By the end of 2020, Jack's company had tripled in size. He no longer owned 10 trucks, he owned 50. The big contract. In 2022, a major national retailer offered him a regional logistics contract worth tens of millions. For Jack, the kid from Texas who once slept in the back of a beat-up Peterbilt, it felt unreal. He signed the deal, and in doing so transformed Turner Hauling into a logistics powerhouse. Now Jack wore suits for meetings, spoke to bankers, and discussed software optimization and supply chain analytics. Yet every so often he climbed into his old first truck, the dented Peterbilt, and drove a run across Texas just to feel the rumble of the road again. Legacy. By 2023, Jack Turner was a millionaire many times over. But when journalists asked him about his secret, he never bragged about money. He always said the same words. The road taught me everything. Discipline, patience, grit. I didn't get lucky. I just refused to quit. And in truck stops across America, other drivers told his story. To them, Jack wasn't just a businessman. He was proof that even from the loneliest highway, a man could build fortune, freedom, and a legacy that roared louder than any engine.